and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran Devlin, and today's session is the big UC partner update for Bright Pattern. I'm delighted to be joined by Michael McCloskey, CEO of Bright Pattern. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Hey Kieran, how are you?
I'm very well, raring to go with today's conversation. But before we dig into exactly the big trends and challenges facing Bright Pattern's partners, could you please tell us a bit about yourself, Michael, and your journey with Bright Pattern?
Sure. Bright Pattern's done, super well over the last several years. We were founded in 2012, so been around a while, but really accelerated over the last, few years, particularly around COVID and things of that nature. We have, a great omni-channel contact center product. We compete with, the major players in the space and do very, very well. We've been growing at about, 35% a year. That's a tribute, I think, to our product portfolio. And so we're really excited, for the future, and we have a lot of new stuff coming out this year as well.
Perfect. And we'll come to those new things coming out this year very, very shortly. But before we move on to then, can you please tell us a little bit about the biggest trends and challenges that are impacting Bright Pattern's partners, that's quite a tongue twister, right now?
Sure. We have a really strong partner base. We about 85% of our business is in fact through partners, and we have partners of Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, ServiceNow, and many of the UC providers as well. But there's been a lot of changes kind of over the last couple of years. With COVID, we saw a huge acceleration for UC vendors and contact center vendors. In fact, most of the analysts will say they saw an acceleration of 2 to 3 years of forward adoption relative to pre-COVID days. But more recently, things have kind of slowed down and got back to normal. If you look at many of the big public providers in the UC space, they were growing at 30% a year during COVID. And today they're growing more like at 7 or 8% a year. So there's been a lot of changes, and the competitive landscape has also changed pretty dramatically. We saw the ascension of Zoom and Microsoft in particular that grew very, very rapidly during that space. And so that created sort of some competitive pressure on a lot of partners. And so, what we've done is we've worked with our partners, particularly in the UC space, to tightly integrate into their UC solutions. And so doing things like presence management, doing things like bi-directional directories, and things of that nature have been, very, very successful because it's allowed them to differentiate, expand their margins, and actually create more customer retention than traditionally was true. So it's been really, really a great partnership for us because it's allowed us to find different routes to market. And in terms of our UC providers, they've had, as I said, margin expansion. They've created new market opportunities. They've got new businesses they can get into. And they actually have a really successful contact center company like ourselves kind of behind them. And in many cases, we allow them to white label our product as well.
Perfect. And I'm very interested, before we move on to the product roadmap, I'm very interested by what you were saying there about the variety of integrations that you're producing for your partners at the moment. And I'm really fascinated by this because I think it's one of the most eye-catching trends of 2024, and I want to leverage your expertise on it. Do you think the depth of integrations and this interoperability that a lot of customers and partners are wanting now, do you think that's something that's really informed and guided you guys over the last few years, but also moving forward?
Absolutely. I think that, in our case, we integrate into something virtually 100% of the time. And it could be your own CRM, it could be a custom CRM, it could be one of the majors that we talked about, like Dynamics, Salesforce, et cetera. We've done a lot of work with special kinds of technology around, making the call center more effective, utilizing those sorts of CRMs. So I think that it's integral to, any of our successes is to be able to integrate into those solutions for sure.
Perfect. And moving on to the product roadmap we teased earlier, what kind of features and benefits and updates are you bringing to partners and customers over the coming 12 months?
I think one of the things that we do really well is we've built everything ourselves into our platform. And so we don't OEM different products and things of that nature. And so what we've tried to do is emulate sort of the customer journey, through that process from self-service to omnichannel contact center, then QM, and of course, eventually WFM. And so what we're able to do with our partners is give them kind of a modular solution that matches that customer journey. So for instance, in self-service, we do things like, bots, we have NLL models. We also have what we call an AI IVR. And what that does is it does things like recognize sentiment through the IVR, and based on that sentiment, maybe route that differently than you would normally. So if you have an upset customer, for instance, maybe it goes to a particular agent that has that skill at managing those customers. So that's an example maybe of our self-service side. On our omni-channel side, we have all of the omni-channel capability, but we've added a lot of AI capability around that area as well. So we have things like real-time transcription. We have agent assist for suggestions. We do intent analysis and things of that nature. So a huge amount of AI integrated into our omni-channel contact center product. And then, of course, we have a QM product, and we have sort of the traditional QM where we basically score 100% of all the interactions. But we also have auto scoring based on our AI technology as well. And so that allows people to kind of shorten the cycle of making corrections into their contact center. So that's part of the third area. And then the fourth area that we service is WFM. So we have all the traditional, from forecasting to scheduling to adherence, intraday, but we also use a lot of AI in our WFM solution. So, what we're trying to do is basically provide sort of the customer journey to our customers. Our products map that very, very well, and it's actually allowed us to accelerate our business and their business. And in fact, particularly with the UC companies that we've worked with, they now have a world-class contact center company that they're working with, and they can white label that product so they can be competitive, not just on the UC side of their business, but on the contact center side of their business, where previously they were not able to do that. So we think it's been a great partnership opportunity with us. We've got several great UC companies that we integrate into and give them unique capability to compete against everybody else. So we're really excited about the UC marketplace and continue to be very, very focused there.
Perfect. And one final question before I let you go, Michael. I'm really fascinated by all the different AI solutions you guys are creating and the different use cases that can be applied to UC circumstances and CC circumstances. So I'm wondering if you could just maybe give us your prediction about how the AI use cases are going to diverge in UC contexts and contact center contexts now that the hype has died down and we have more interesting and sophisticated applications of AI. 18 months in from ChatGPT making it entering the public mainstream, if you will. What are your thoughts moving forward on how AI is going to evolve in the UC and CC spaces?
I think it's really going to dramatically change it. I think that one of the things that's going to happen, people always wonder, is there going to be less agents, less UC? It's possible that it kind of lessens slightly, but I think what you're going to see is more agent enablement in that regard. And so we talked about things like agent assist, making suggestions in real time. We talked about doing things like intent analysis. Why are people calling? What is the basis for what they're trying to do? That allows you to get into root cause analysis and really kind of resolve those corporate issues. So I think that it's going to be much more of an enabler than anything else. And I think that it's going to be very, very important for all vendors to really adopt this and accelerate their production of these kinds of utilities, because we're seeing more and more. Virtually every customer that we talk to now is interested in AI. There's still a lot of questions about how to use it, but that's part of the educational process that we as vendors need to do for our customers. But so far, we've seen a huge adoption and a massive amount of interest in those areas. So I think it's going to continue for a long time, and I think it has changed the marketplace, going forward for sure.
Perfect. Well, I think that's all we've got time for today, but it's been a really enjoyable session. So thank you, Michael, for being here.
Thanks, Kieran. Appreciate your time.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share it on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.